Today's project, we're going to put primer on this bed floor. I want to get it ready for bed liner. Anyway, we're going to make it one color. We're going to make it black because that's the color of the bed liner. I'm going to get to this. It shouldn't take, but you know, I'm in it. But for you guys, it'll be, I don't know, how about abracadabra, abracazam, done, just like that. So the next step is to get this lowered down, start getting the side rails on there and getting the front end. And I haven't brought the tailgate in, guys. I want to show you that. So let me run around and get that stuff done. I'll be right back. All right, folks, here's what we got going today. I put on the header panel. This would be the cab of the truck this way, the back of the box this way. Box project. We're going to get something done. So I got this on by myself. It wasn't really that difficult. Just remember, because it took me a minute, this panel goes under the truck bed. You got to hold it up to put the bolts through. Probably be a good idea to have a friend help you out, or your wife, girlfriend, whatever. But all I did was put this panel kind of on my thigh. I brought it over here, lifted it up from underneath, so you can't just set it on there, is my point. And I held it with my thigh. I got this at the right level where I could hold this with my thigh while I put a bolt in. I've got a ladder back here now that it's alone, so it doesn't flop and bend that bottom piece. It probably wouldn't. I'm just playing it safe. Now, I just want to cover this real quick and tell you what's coming up in the next few minutes. I did seam seal this. Now, this is one piece of metal that they've wrapped around the top, and it's spot welded across the top. That's fine, except when dust and dirt and debris swirl in this pickup truck as you're driving it, you get debris up in there. Not a lot, but I've seen more than one of these rusted out down here, usually in the first 10 inches. And that's just because dirt and debris and little leaves and all that get in there. Then moisture gets in there, and you already know I'm going to say rust. And if that ain't bad enough that it's going to rust through this panel, this one's rock solid. I've had them that were kind of bad. You can buy this new panel. You can buy everything. It's just all about money. If you want to put 40 grand into your truck, it's going to be super nice. It makes it easier and more fun nowadays. And I do want to just real quick go to the old days. My first restoration, if you call this restoration, the first car I ever really did of my own, I bought a 1962 Chevy 2. I always liked those cars. They're cool. And back in those days, I'm going to say 90s, 93, 4, 5, maybe even 96, I looked long and hard for parts for that truck. And back in those days, when I say look, I didn't have Google. I didn't have a cell phone to look for it. I don't believe in the early 90s, if you had a computer, I wasn't aware at the time, I'm quite sure, there wasn't eBay. There wasn't all these sites to sell old truck parts. All we had was year one. It's the only thing I can remember back in those days, as far as getting parts. And year one was a higher quality, and I think they still are, to be honest with you. They were the highest quality that was available, and they were very limited on the parts you could get for whatever vehicle you were working on. So you pretty much had to ask the old guys at the parts store or ask around. Redoing an old vehicle back in the 90s was not easy. You spent every bit as much time locating and fetching parts, going to junkyards and different places than you actually did working on the car. Now, I enjoyed it. Don't take that wrong. But I ask around for Chevy 2s. It's a thing. There's got to be somebody. There's always that guy. In Michigan, we have a guy that does these like I do, only he buys a lot more parts and he puts out more production. And because of that, he orders more parts and gets free shipping, and people come to him to add on to his orders. So people are still thinking ahead and doing those things to save money. But I remember back in the 90s, there was a guy in Tennessee who had an entire barn full of 60s Chevy 2 stuff. I needed a rear glass. I needed, I don't think I had a glove box. And those things you couldn't just get online and buy. So I planned a vacation to go down there and actually spend 2 or 3 days visiting with him and looking through his barn and going and sightseeing in Tennessee while I'm there. So it was a big deal getting parts. And by the way, he had a stack of windshields. I bet there was 40 or 50 of them in this barn. Doors, like a bookshelf, just had doors everywhere. That was incredible for those days. Nowadays, you just order the parts and put them on. All right, I've talked enough about that. So I seam seal this area because the worst thing for me is having these stripes from the water running down or the rust striping from it running down. Or if you want to spray some kind of rust preventator in there, like fluid film, it would run out between those spot welds. I don't want all that striping, and it's hard to get in there and wash because you got the cab right here. So I seam seal the whole thing. It holds in my rust preventative. It might drip out here at the edge until it cures up good. That's easy to clean. So I highly suggest seam sealing the bottom of that, which I did. Now, some of you are probably thinking, why didn't you paint it? Because the seam seal directions tell you do not prime the seam sealer. I don't know why. It doesn't explain why. It just says not to. I'm going to follow the directions until it's a problem. It may not be. So that's why it's not painted. We're going to seam seal the bottom of this for sure because all the water is going to come up here and try and run out these corners. Yeah, don't block them corners off. But don't do that yet. None of this is seam sealed until I'm almost ready to finish it with the bed liner because there's adjustments that have to be made on this box when we put it together. It's going to be all kinds of out of alignment. So you don't want it seam sealed. You have to fight that too. So the next step, now that I'm on this, I have a friend coming over to help me put the sides on. They're bulky, they're heavy, they're new. I don't want to slip and drop one on the floor. It's not worth it. And I'm just not in the shape to manhandle those around and put bolts in them. So I suggest you get a friend. I'm going to get a friend. He doesn't want to be on video, so it's going to be a presto changeo. You see it now, then you'll see the sides on. That's what we got to deal with. That's what we have. But on more lecture, I know if you want to watch me work on something, you're going to fast forward. If you're having a friend come help you, be the better guy, be a good friend, and have things ready. I know personally, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, do you mind swinging by and help me out? And I get there and he's like, let me go get the tools. Let me go get the parts. Let me go get this. Oh, I forgot something. And I hang out for an hour of my day trying to help a buddy out for a 10-minute job. That's rude. So what I have is predetermined in my head. I know what bolts we put in up here to hold the bed on, the bedside, so they don't flop off. That'll firm things up good. But I still don't want the entire back flopping, so I've got some bolts set up to attach it here. That triangulation is going to keep it solid so he can just leave. Things are ready. The impact wrench is ready. These are all clean. The threads are clean. I've chased the threads. I've made sure they fit. All that to be polite that when he comes over, he isn't waiting for me to get something ready. So we're completely ready. I even have another set of bolts in the back that if we have some floppiness, I don't foresee that I can throw them in quickly. Done with the lecture. Let's move to the tailgate, something new. 1968 C10 in bright white. Well, tailgates. No reason to have a big discussion on tailgates. They don't last 50 years. Of all things on a truck, if you can get a truck with a decent tailgate, an original, super rare. The best I've ever seen, well, the grain truck, it's all original. It's the original tailgate with the original paint. Very impressive. Even the repaint they did in the, whatever it was, 70s, 80s, they didn't do the tailgate. So it's legit. I can't tell you how rare that is. It has some little dings in it, but Tom's truck, the white truck, short bed, by the way, that tailgate, I think he didn't have one at all. So he got this replacement, but it's used as well. And it appears that they did what everybody does. Try to save a little money, get a new tailgate, but it doesn't come with the innards, the guts, the workings. So these are, by looking at them, this end don't even work, by the way. The spring-loaded close thing, yeah, the pin don't work. That one works. They use the old, and that's cool. I would try to do the same thing. Problem is, somewhere along the way, nobody oiled it, and it's not even that old, obviously. It's newer than the original, but the handle, seriously, I mean, I'm moving the table. It's almost froze up, and it's crooked already. So somebody's bent it prior to now. So I'm gonna have to get this, figure this out. I've never done one on a 67 to 72. I don't like that. I don't know if it was necessary, but we're definitely bent. I see it's bent in the side. It's even crooked in there. It's not working. So let's figure out how to get that out of there. Now, I never really looked at this before now. I mean, I've seen it, but I didn't look at it. It feels to me, and this would be a good lesson for both of us, whoever did this did a nice job. I can't even tell you if it came that way. Whoever, if, I'm confused. This has a texture to it. I believe somebody put bed liner on it, but it's so good of a job, it looks factory. So we're painting up here. Yeah, it looks like a tape line, and they did put some bed coating on there, but they did a nice job taping it off, that's for sure. I see it rubbed here and here, and this is classic on the corners where it rubbed. On my gold truck, there's a dent right there. On my gold truck, I had this, and I didn't mitigate it enough. So once I put the bed liner on there, bed liner's got some thickness to it, and it rubbed off again. It's a driver. It's life. It's got a little mark on it. I'll try to get this truck where it doesn't do that. I have to touch it up because it's wore off, but I would normally start my bed liner at this bump, not crowd yourself down here where it's tight to the truck. But the bed liner's on there so thin it's hard to even, it does have it, but it is super thin. We'll give it a scuff up and add to it. I like that they didn't bed liner these bolts. Either way, I didn't have my wrench ready because I'm ready for tomorrow. Let's see if this one will work. Come on. I've never done one of these before. I don't have my gloves on. Look at that. There's no access panel on the inside like some newer trucks. So this obviously comes out this way. Except that, I don't know. Well, that's almost too easy. Well, I spoke too soon, didn't I? Now this moves freely, which worries me. Why was it so hard to move earlier? It must be somewhere on the ends because this part is well oiled. I'm dealing with those rods that are bent, and that's how they stay in there. I'm curious how you make them not stay in there. Maybe I should have watched the video, eh? She definitely bent up, that's for sure. I don't know how this comes off. They put it together in a way that it wouldn't accidentally come off. It'll probably come off down there. I don't know, folks. You definitely don't want to move that way. Oh, maybe it is in the handle. These two are probably too. I might be able to lube it up and just put it back. Problem is, bent. I'm going to have to figure out how to get this out, and I'll get back with you. All right, I got you back in to work on the tailgate. And then we're going to work on the truck box here and kind of talk through what I did. And we got some issues to look at and some things that you might encounter when replacing items on your truck box. This particular truck we're working on right now is a 1968 C10 in bright white. It's a half-ton, it's a C10, half-ton short box. Firstly, we're going to work on the tailgate, getting the handle out. Afterly, we're going to work on the box. Let's go. There's probably no way you're going to, and then I wear black gloves. You're going to be able to see in here what I'm doing. I tried to look up a video on this because I couldn't find anything that was definitive on it. Take them out. I'll tell you how I did it. It's not that terrible. I don't know how you do it without these, but not everybody has a long needle nose. But the point is, you got to have some pliers. Now, what we got, and I don't know why I didn't leave it up here, is this rod that goes from, I got to get it right, this handle. This is the end that goes to the, I don't know what you call it, the pull tab on the end that latches this. We'll call it a latch. And that's stuck in place. We'll get to that later. Yeah, I said it already. Doggone it. This end is hooked through the handle. Facing the rear of the truck, driver's side, I think it's best to remove this one first. You can reach in from this side and twist it out of the way. Now it's still hooked in at this end, but the rod has some flex. You can twist it and it'll spring right back. So that one's a little difficult to get out, but not too bad. We'll discuss how that's put together when we get down there a little further. But once you get that out, remember you took the bolts from the back side of the box, tailgate. Now that this is loose, you have some room to move it. I know it's noisy. And if you need to, you can rotate the handle up and down, which I found is kind of necessary. If it was froze up, I don't know what you would do. So we have another rod in there. I don't know if you can see it down in this area or not, but it's another rod with a twist in it. And it's not easy to get these out. You want to lift the handle up this way, and you can't. If I was going to do this job and worried about scratching my paint, I probably wouldn't do it, but I would put 3 or 4 nice layers of tape around this before you start, because I think you're going to scratch it. I haven't scratched this, maybe a little bit, this primer, but that's insignificant. So when you pull this out, you're thinking, I'm there. I'm almost there. Well, no, you're really not. You kind of have to rotate this handle around. And believe it or not, it'll wiggle out of there. I just don't remember how. See? I'll do it in front of you. I'm going to do it wrong. Excuse me. We're all going to do it wrong once or twice. Because even after doing it, I don't remember exactly how I got that up and out of there. No, I think I'm right. Get this rotated a little bit. Now it's binding at the top and it's touching at the bottom. Manipulate the handle a little bit, see if that gives you more room or not. It does. At this point, I take my pliers and I grab that rod and I'm just trying to rotate the hook out of the handle. I can't remember if this is the point or not. It's close. Darn it, it's not fun. They didn't make it just come right out of there, that's for sure. It's just a matter of manipulation. Oh, that was it. I'm coming around now. I don't remember if that's a good spot or not. It's just hooked in there, but it don't want to let you do it. I swear I had this almost out. Almost just ain't close enough. Come on. Play nice. I've got a corner hooked in here I cannot get past. Oh, that was it. There we go. Now that I got this tipped back as far as you can go, I think that'll go. No, that wasn't it. There it is. Handle up in there. You can see it now. I'm twisting it away. Yeah, you gotta give it some throttle. And it comes out. See that flexing I'm talking about? That's the only way I could get it out. And then the rod, I've already taken the bolts out of the end. So this should just slide right out the end. I don't know if you can see. I'll back up and show you. Once you finally remove that handle, there's that rod we're working on. This should just go right out this end. I can show you how that's hooked up. Let me pull it out. It's just stuck through a sliding slot, if you will, with a keeper pin on this one. Well, that's not how I would have done it, nor I think how GM did it. It appears that it had threads on there, so I think it has one of them cap screw things. Whatever you do a good job. because if this comes off of here sometime that you're not expecting it to, it is darn near impossible to get it hooked back up in the box because you're working through the hole and the box is closed and latched and you can't take the bolts out. So it's very important that this is secured in this slot. Excellent. I would probably drill a hole through the middle and put a pin in there myself, but this probably would work. Do what you think is best, but that's important. Here at the back of the truck, you can kind of see we got the extended wheel wells in there. Got the box sides on. A buddy of mine came over, helped me throw them on. They went on pretty easy. All I would suggest is to put one of these top screws in. That'll keep the side from falling off. And then as soon as you can, put a drifter, a punch or something, even a bolt through one of the holes in the box. That'll keep that side from falling off while you're trying to fit it in place. And I want to draw your attention to this particular job. Everybody's is different, but here we have 3 different manufacturers' parts that we're trying to fit together. I mean, I'm not saying any one of the 3 are right or wrong, but when you have 3 different manufacturers punching holes that are got to match up really close, it's not likely that you're going to have that as much as you'd like. So we got GM and I don't remember, and JC Pony. Yeah, I know. I think there's a couple holes I might have to just maybe take a die cutter, grinder, something to just touch up the holes a little bit on this side, but mostly fit together. Nothing that I would bring up as a specific issue other than both fenders, box sides, had the same issue at the back. So I'll take you in and show you that. It's an easy fix, but you can't leave it. It just won't bolt together. At least right. There, I said that again too, didn't I? Here at the back driver's side, what I want to focus you on is this gap right here. It's lifted quite high through this point. There's a gap under there. This metal comes down and it folds under, and they didn't fold it hard enough, and it's holding this entire box side up more than a 1/4 inch. I can take this, I don't know how thick that is, but I can slide that right underneath the box side between it and underneath the bed. So that needs to go down. So I'm going to attempt to push it off the side of the box and hammer it up so that this part can go down. And I'll see if I can get your view in there. Working on this. Now we've tightened that gap up a lot, and my bolts will now continue to go draw this down. For the most part, that's it. I think I got her pretty good. Definitely sitting a lot closer than I was. Looks like there might have been just a small bubble of rust jacking inside this box where I can't get to, and that's holding it up just a little bit right here. If I have to, I'll knock it off again later. Yeah. And give it one more little dent, maybe down on the box rather than to keep banging on that. I almost want to do it now. What do you think? Yep, let's do it now. Don't love it, but it's got to be done. I guess I did it. I might as well point it out to you. The box side goes on top of the box bottom, but under the fender, and I missed that. That's the only issue I have going on now. I won't keep it with that. But the reason this is important, that you get this as tight to the bottom as you can, or at least the same as the other side, because you're going to put one weld, as GM did, right along this edge. It has bolts inside, but they didn't want to put a bracket in here, so they welded it right to the box bottom. Good idea. Helps keep you from doing, this kind of thing with it. You don't want a box with the sides hanging out, but the level up and down is important. What'll happen if you don't catch this, you'll be mad because it'll be way after adjustment, is when you close your tailgate up, if this one's higher, then your tailgate's going to set too low at the top. If this one's lower than that side, you can see the difference. So you won't be level across your box tops and your tailgate. So get these measured from the top to the bottom, or whatever anchor point you want, but to the bottom of the box. And as long as that's the same distance, it'll work out fine. As far as adjustments go, I think time is probably more important than ability on this. It's going to take a couple hours. Grab a tape measure. This is what I do. I don't know if it's right, but it's how I do it alone. I set the end of that tape measure right in the box corner or box pocket, and I take it to the very of course, the very outside edge of the box front. This isn't my favorite tape measure for long distances. I think it's 103. 103. But on this side, I think I'm 103 and an eighth. Of course, right now I got to do that last little tuck under, but an eighth is not a ton, but you want to get it as close as you can. I'm more like a quarter right now. As close as you can. I would say within a 16th. It really pays off to do it at this point because everything's loose. You can go over there and you can bump it one time, or you can come in the front and kind of bump it that way one time. That's why I'm working on the tailgate so much. I don't want to get everything bolted down and blocked in tight when I realize that the back could have just went out a little bit, and I have to take a whole bunch of stuff loose for the tailgate. So that's going to be down the road. I probably won't even bore you guys when I do it, but it's just a little go over there and bump, come up here and bump. And once you finally get it where you think you got it right on, I would suggest tightening these top corner bed sides first. It just seems to work out better. If you go tighten an inside one, this top can tend to kind of want to move on you. Other than that, just keep tightening your bolts a little bit, rechecking your measurements. Just takes time. Get it as square as you can, and then you'll never have to think about it again. And I think at that point, we're about done for this week's show. I want to clean this up. Obviously, it's lubed up pretty good. That's the mechanism moving freely. The handle, not so much, but it has to be straightened up. And that's just taking a hammer over to the anvil and manipulating it around until all the bends are even and work together nicely. Again, just going to take some time. These handles are all stamped metal, so they can be bent fairly easily. Keep them lubed up and it shouldn't be a problem. Then, of course, I'll repaint it and all that stuff. We'll get around to that later. But for now, I got to go.